Alright, so we're shaping the handle a little bit. And I'm a little off center, but that's okay. It'll be just fine. This is roughing it. We're roughing this blank. And what I'm doing is I'm going in and then shaving down. Going in and then shaving down after I've already made notches on either side. Like so. So when I do take this stock off, it doesn't go all the way down the stave. You know, and then I can take the other side and just take it there. So what I'm doing is just carving in the handhold on the sides laterally, and the same thing on this side here. It's going in laterally. And then look in it, and then I flip it over and do the same thing on the other side. And then make sure it's equilateral. Like so. So we're just shaping the handle a little bit, roughing out, and then what's going to happen is this is going to be gouged out, and we're going to shape even more this way and shape even more that way. We'll be rounding the handle out. Okay, this is my setup for shaving. I have my Sureform, which has got the yellow handle there. I'd love to do this primitively. I'm just not. I don't have the resources right now to do so, or the time. So I'm just really using this video to kind of go through the concept of making a bow. So I'm cheating and using modern tools like the shaver here, and then what I'm doing is I have some cardboard out to collect the shavings and to keep the bow clean from the dirt, and then I'm having it butt up against the fence here, which will give me a stop so that I can get to the tip, and I can control the how much I shave. I can have control over where the stave is. Okay, this is the progress so far on the bow stave that I have. I've shaved from the tip going back, and I got a pretty good profile going on to the handle here. And it probably needs to be shaved more, but what I have work to do on is the other end. And I've got some knots here, which are a no-no, but I'm going to make it work nonetheless. You really don't want to have knots in the back of your bow coming out, and that's coming from the stems here. That'll be coming out, and then the scorch marks, of course, because of shaping it, but we'll sand that out. It's not going to be a big deal. But now I need to take mass down from the tip and work it towards the handle. So this is the belly of the bow, this is the back of the bow, the back of it. And there's a nice recurve that we put into it, and actually it had a natural recurve. We just made sure that there was more of a recurve on the limb that didn't have so much, and we're just going to start shaving off mass from the side. Sureform, just hitting the sides like this to scrape down. Now what I'm careful of doing is, if you can see, is cutting into the knot. So I want to work around the knot. If there's a bend in the bow, that's fine. We want it to bend this way. We're not worried about that way. Okay, on this side that has all the knots, this is the profile we're giving it. And right now, just tillering. Tillering is the act of making sure that both limbs bend evenly. Just tillering it across my knee. I'm about to stop, and I'm gonna just use like sandpaper to start to refine the edges and stuff, and then start to train the bow to bend the way that we want it. So we've taken off a good majority of mass. This is the belly. This is going to be the handle. This is the center part. It's thicker in the middle and it's thinner towards the end. So what's happening now is it's starting to what's happening is it's starting to bend pretty good, like this, right? I don't want to put too much work into it, but I want to kind of make sure that the limbs start to know what they're wanting to do, what we want them to do. Okay, working on my daughter's bow. I've already filed some notches in because it's time to tiller, meaning it's time to make sure that both limbs bend evenly. I'm using a rat tail file, a small one. From a primitive standpoint, I would just carve them in using a cutting tool, obviously. I have marked out where I'm going to start filing in pencil on the opposite end. And there's many different tips. There's many different ways to do the tip. I'm just going to do traditional and just file these in. Yeah, so this is the next step. Alright, so this is the first tillering profile. Got a lot of work to do. There's some mass that needs to be taken up over here, and a little bit of mass that needs to be taken up over there. But it's on a tillering board, and I want to go for 21 inches as a draw length, which I've marked out here. But it's, you know, it's not, just probably another 2 inches or an inch and a half down. So we got some sanding to do, but this is a tillering board, and this is how you make both limbs even, and they're not even. So essentially, after putting it in the tillering board, we have to sand down on the belly to take away mass on the areas that aren't bending properly. And a lot of the times you can take a pencil or a marking tool and mark where you need to take down. And, you know, I kind of do that. So in this particular area here, it's usually where the knots are. Knots are not our friends when making a bow, but this is just a small bow, and it's not meant to last forever. It's just a trainer, really. But I've marked off, and then I have very, very rough grit sandpaper, and I want to take down mass so that I can get this to bend evenly. And then once you take it down a bit, we go back to the tillering board to see how well it tillers. And then for the tillering board, because the mouth that it sits in is wide, just taking a towel and wrapping it around so that it fits more securely in there. Alright, so this is what we got going on for the bend. We got much more bend going on here, so I need to even it out on this side a little bit. That means I got to take a lot more mass down in this area here. And then I can take more mass down at the tip, although I like my tips a little bit thicker, just for security. But for the most part, we're gonna start taking down mass here. So what I do is I take my pencil and I can kind of mark the area that I'm going to take down with sandpaper. Alright, for me, I'm going to be okay with this tiller. I mean, I can see there's some issues going on. It's not bending as much over on this side as it is on this side overall, but I think the stress is even, and I'm going intuitively, and I used rough grit to take down. So I'm still going to sand, but I'm going to sand with a more medium grit, which is still going to take off mass. So things will start to kind of even out a little bit. Again, this is a starter bow for my daughter, so it's not something that I'm trying to make as an heirloom necessarily. If I was sinewing the back of the bow, then we'd have to retiller then. But right now I'm okay with what we got. I think it works. And again, I've got this notch. I've got it bent a little bit past the marker for her draw length, but I'm using a longer string, and that's what I do for tillering, because I don't want to put a premature set in the bow, and a set means a premature bend in it, and I want it to be straight as I pull it down. Well, there we go. I think I'm okay with it. I got a little bit of sanding to do on the back of the bow and spine, but I think this will have to do, and it'll work as a starter bow.